When I began the podcast earlier this year, I told you guys that I had questions around growth, balance, priorities, living life to your fullest potential. And in fact, this was the premise of the podcast also. Now, as the year ends, I told myself, I've asked these questions, but how do I ensure that the learning stays and I remember some of the most important conversations I've had during the year? In that light, one of the most important things I also learned this year is learning to take a pause. It can mean taking a complete break or, sometimes just stopping midway to recap what you've experienced. And when you pause, recap, repeat is when you are reminded of what, you've experienced or learned and you actually grow from it. So, I decided to do a recap on some of the most important lessons I learned from the guest who graced the show. Welcome to the recap episodes of Questions I Wanted to Ask, where I recap some of the most important conversations that have happened on the podcast, which I personally resonate with, and things going on in my life. It was very difficult for me to take out, my favorite clip from a show I put together with all my heart, where every guest that came in because of the special connection that I shared with them or something special that they had to say. Then I told myself I should separate the host and look at myself as that girl who had questions, who wanted answers, and pick up some of the most relevant answers that helped me in my life. With that in mind, I looked back and thought that this podcast or any of the work I am attempting to do wouldn't have been possible if I told myself, I can't do it. It's not, it's so difficult, or what will people think? I could only do this because I told myself I can do it. It's going to be fine. I'm going to experiment, and I think it's going to be amazing. In fact, this became a prominent conversation in Writer Bhavani Iyer's episode. Bhavani is the writer of some of the most beautiful films of our times: Black, Guzarish, Lootera, Raazi, and so many more that we will see in the coming times and we've seen in the past. As an artist and as a person, Bhavani is just like the scripts she's written: very, very beautiful, very deep, and very soulful. In my conversation with Bhavani, we spoke a lot about this inculcating belief in your own work, about the process of finding your own voice when you're surrounded by so much of chaos and clutter. I asked her, how should we raise kids to the best expression of themselves? And this is what she had to say.
I'll go back here to how my dad raised me, my parents, especially my dad, because he was very instrumental in me becoming who I am and finding my place as a writer. Is that I feel for any child who is learning to express herself, a female child who's learning to express herself, just teach her to block the noise. Just teach her not to respond to wow, even from you. Let her know how she feels, and that is all that should matter. That is all my dad would say. That do you like it? When I would ask him, how do you like the story? And he would say, do you like it? And I think that has made me, the rock star that I am in my head. It is this that has made me that. Because if you know me otherwise as a person, I'm very diffident, I'm very shy, I'm very quiet.
Yeah.
But there is this side of me, there is the schizophrenic side of me, which believes that I am the rock star in cinema, in a film, because I've been taught very early not to care about what anybody else felt, whether positive or negative. Do you like it? If you like it, it's great. That's all. So I think that is so important, to just block out any other noise except your own.
Wow. Rock star. I'm a rock star in my head. This particular line stayed with me. And I think if I have to sum up Bhavani's episode, it's going to be, I'm a rock star in my head. I hope you will find similar meaning to what Bhavani said, like I found. And finally, as we do more of these wrap-up episodes in the coming few weeks, I will have a special friend coming in who's going to be, joining and talking to me about the learnings I've had producing this podcast, about the learnings I've had from some of the answers I received. This particular friend has been very, very instrumental in the podcast coming together. Who's he? Is somebody I'm going to reveal as we do the next recap episode in the coming few weeks. And with that, we recap this week's episode. Yes, these episodes are smaller, shorter, but because they're recaps, in the next few weeks, you're going to be seeing a lot more of recap episodes with some of my most favorite conversations that I resonated. Hope you like them as much as I liked them and enjoyed, hearing them.